Hello there my friends, and welcome back to another learning tutorial video here on TA with MK. My name is MK. In today's video we're going to teach you, or attempt to teach you, how to set a stop loss the right way on Kucoin in the derivatives or futures section, so to speak. Now I have a video, I will leave a link in the description. It's definitely the most popular video I've put out to date. And it's just how to set a stop loss in the regular spot trading section on Kucoin. Now if you're new or even somewhat new to trading, or especially trading crypto, I would suggest seeing that link and watching that video and stick primarily to spot trading as you develop your skills, learn to manage your risk, and so forth. Obviously, derivatives and futures is a much riskier way to trade. It's a little bit more gambling if you don't know what you're doing. However, I do know some of you are a little more advanced in your trading, or at least feel like you're ready to take that leap. I will also leave a link in the description to a video that I put out several months ago that basically go over how to trade derivatives and futures on the Kucoin exchange. So with that being said, just keep in mind that this video is primarily directed at those that are either already experienced or ready to dip their foot and begin their journey, so to speak, into trading derivatives and futures. And we just want to show you, in case you don't know how, to set a stop loss on that area of the Kucoin platform. This is very much going to be a video of just how to do it. I'm not going to give any recommendations or tips or anything in this video as far as where you should be setting a stop loss. At the end of the day, it really is a personal preference, but there are some things that I could suggest, and I will in future videos. But just to keep this video somewhat on the shorter side of things, we're just going to discuss simply how you do it. Now, as always, if that sounds like something that may or may not be of interest to you, please remember to like and subscribe, and let's go. It's TA with MK. It's TA with MK. Okie dokie then. So what better place to start than the Kucoin homepage? We're going to go up here, obviously, to your browser, type in kucoin.com. I'm already here. Once that page loads up for you, the first thing you're going to do is go to this little tab here that says derivatives. And then I actually just like to use the Futures Classic. And that's the one we're going to use in today's video. So go ahead and click on Futures Classic and go ahead and let that load up. Alrighty, so in an attempt to not waste any of your precious time, I've moved my head out of the way. And before making the video, I even opened up a couple of small perpetual positions. You can scroll down here and see where it says positions. I have a small BTC long position open, unrealized $26 in profit at the moment. Realized P&L, this was of course just the fees, 57 cents paid so far. These were just opened a little bit earlier today. I also have an ICP long position open. You can see down here it's $15 in profit, 39 cents in fees paid so far. Now again, keep in mind you can always use that link that I mentioned earlier in the description for my full-length tutorial on how to trade futures on the Kucoin platform. So I'm not going to go over really any more than what I've said so far. We're just going to get right down to the nitty-gritty of this video of how to actually set a stop loss. So I went ahead and canceled the stop loss that I already had in place for ICP just so I can show you how to do that. So to do that, we're going to go down here to the right of where it says realized P&L. There's a little section that says next to your trades, or above your trades, take profit and stop loss. And then it has a little icon here that says add. So for example, again, we're on the BTC perpetual. I can click the add button. And then this little pop-up screen is going to pop up that has a couple of options. I'm actually going to go over both, even though this video is primarily about a stop loss, just to explain exactly how both of these work. Now, the top one being the take profit, and the bottom one being the stop loss. So we're going to start actually with the stop loss just because that's what the video is about, but I will also briefly explain the take profit and what these percentages mean on that as well. Also realized my head was probably in the way again, so I got that moved out of your way. So if we zoom in here where it says stop loss, you'll see percentages. Now there's two ways you can set a stop loss. Both are okay, but I will tell you that the way that I recommend. Now the way these percentages work is it's just telling you what, let's just say whatever your position size is, if you only want to lose up to 5%, maybe that's what your risk tolerance tells you that's the most you're willing to risk on a trade. You could click this, and then depending on your position size and your entry and what leverage you're using, it'll automatically put a number in here that says, so in this case, I entered, in fact, if we go back out here, let me just explain briefly. So you can see on Bitcoin that my entry price is $23,792. Now, if I go back over here and hit add again, and I click 5%, you can see it puts in 23,502. That's just because I'm using, I believe, 4x leverage on this trade. And so for me to only lose 5%, that would be the price that, you know, if Bitcoin hits, I will, of course, it'll close the trade for me. That's what a stop loss is for. And then I would lose 5% of my overall capital that I put into this position. So say I put $100 in there. What's 5% of $100? $5. So then, of course, I'm sure you can already draw the conclusion that if you, the same math, you know, applies in logic to any of these percentages. So in this case, if I click 15%, it's now showing that if the price hits 22,921, you know, that's gonna, you know, hit my stop loss, and at that point I'm going to lose 15% of whatever capital I invested into this position. Same thing with 25%, 50%, and so on. So this is just kind of an easy way for some people, I suppose, to manage their risk with a number without having to do the math themselves. They can say, hey, I just know that I like to do 5% stop losses on my trades. I'll click that. It'll automatically plug a number in, hit confirm, and, you know, you're on your day, on with your day. Now, that being said, that's not the way that I would recommend doing it. Of course, I'm not going to go over exactly where I would suggest putting stop losses. That again, like I mentioned earlier in the video, is a personal preference thing. But really, of course, you should be looking at the charts, figuring out levels of support, resistance, etc., and, you know, putting your stop loss somewhere, you know, below support or above resistance, depending on if you're longing or shorting. But anyway, we're going to work under the assumption that you've actually picked out a number, or a price in this case, that you feel is a good spot to set your stop loss. Well, in that case, it's just as simple as clicking in here and putting that number in. Now, let me just show you quickly on this Bitcoin chart the example of where I come up with the number that I want to set as my current stop loss. So here we are on a Bitcoin 2-hour chart, just something that I was using when I chose to enter this trade. And I'm going to explain to you my thought real quick process, at least on my current stop loss that I'm about to show you. So I've been tracking this potential ascending triangle that had been forming. We had touches 1, 2, and 3. It broke down, even bearishly retested it. I actually shorted the price of Bitcoin briefly as it retested this 200 EMA. Now, again, if this is all jargon you don't understand, you could skip this portion of the video. Just trying to quickly give some context as to where my stop loss is going to be. Now, it is bullish in my eyes that the price action has currently broken back into the inside of this pattern after it had, of course, lost it, and it was, you know, acting as resistance. It's back above this level of support 2 that was support here and support here. So at this point, for the, you know, my bullish idea to be invalidated on this trade, it really is just as simple as us dropping back below, in my opinion at least, you know, this area that we've, you know, the pattern basically that we're breaking back into. That being said, we want to give ourselves a little wiggle room. Price action does kind of like to, you know, spike around, especially in times like this where the economy and things going on. It's a little volatile. So I'm going to go ahead and go back down just a little bit below this pink box that I had down here that was previously a wick down to here once. We kind of had a wick down here that was close to it. So I'm going to set my stop loss just below that at about 23,000. We'll just pick 896. So now we pop back over to the Kucoin exchange, and right here under stop loss, we're going to go ahead and type in 23,896. Now, if you look below that, you will see where it says last price, mark price, and index price. Do not concern yourself with that. Just leave it on last price. There is subtle differences between how the three work. However, I've found last price to work, you know, the best, honestly, or at least it hasn't caused me any issues. So rather than go into a long explanation about the three, let's just go ahead and assume that you're okay with using last price, because I'm telling you it's okay. And then go ahead and just click confirm. Then super duper quick, just to show you a second example, since we have a second trade open, which is the ICP, I'm going to go ahead and click add. Now, before I do that, if you notice over here to the left where it says unrealized P&L, I am currently 10% in profit. I'm going to go ahead and just set this one to break even. At this point, if the price of ICP decides to go backwards, I'd rather just get out of the trade and possibly look for new entry ideas, especially because I just opened this trade more or less to be able to give you guys an example when I made this video. So we're going to go ahead and click add, but I wanted to pay attention first to what my entry price was over here. Looks like it's 665.8, so I'm going to go ahead and click add. Under stop loss, I'm going to type 665.8, and you can see down here, which I didn't point out on the last one, but I will point it out on this one, that it tells you below, you know, the last price in this kind of small letters. It says if the last price drops to 6.658, your stop loss market order will be triggered, so it will trigger your stop loss essentially, and it even tells you what your projected loss is. In this case, because I'm putting it at break even, of course it's 0 USD, so I can confirm that. But if we go back to the Bitcoin one, just to kind of show you real quick, that one I didn't point out, but if you look here, it tells me that my projected profit, so I actually have my stop loss in profit on Bitcoin, would be a profit of $4.16. So it's just a quick way to be able to see, once you determine your stop loss, what the exact number of profit, or of course loss in most cases, would be. Now, real quick before we wrap up today's tutorial video, I mentioned earlier I would briefly go over how the take profit part worked. Now, it's of course under that same that same pop-up box. Now, right here where it says take profit and stop loss, where it says 23,896 because I put in that as a stop loss, I can click that pencil, bring up that same box, and you can see where it says take profit, and it has a bunch of percentages, and then it also, of course, has a box where you can type in the number. Now, it works the same way that the stop loss did in that regard. So what I mean by that is, if you look at these percentages, if you just want to, if you were the type of person that just said, hey, when I put the money in for this trade, I want to be able to make 25%. That just was what I was aiming for, and I want the, Kucoin to do the math for me. So if you click 25%, it's going to automatically put in whatever price, based again on what leverage you're using, how much money you put in, etc. Whatever price is going to make you make 25%. So in this case, it put in $25,279. If the price hits that, I'll make about $60, which the math would work out to be 25% gains for me. So then again, just like the stop loss area, if you click 50%, 75%, it's just going to do the same thing. It's just going to do the math on whatever percent you chose. So let's just say you wanted 100% gains. If I click 100%, it's telling me, based on my leverage, which is close to 3.5x, that the price of Bitcoin needs to reach 29,740 for me to essentially double the amount of money that I put into this trade, or at least to make 100% gains, which would be, a profit estimate of 237.92. Now again, just like the stop loss area, that's a personal preference thing. If you want to use these percentages, that's why I explained to you kind of briefly how those work. Now, I myself, and I believe most traders, do not use those. Of course, again, you'll look at the chart, figure out what your target is, and at that point you'll have an exact price. So let's just say my target, if we hop back over to the Bitcoin chart, let's just say that it was back up here, kind of where all of these rejections happened. I'll probably put it just below that. So let's just say I wanted my profit level to be somewhere up here around 24,982, we'll call it. Well, I can come back over here to the exchange and type in 24,982. And again, it's going to show me down here what my estimated profit will be if that target is hit. Of course, it's going to close my trade out 100% for, the profit of $47.60. All right, and the very last thing I want to mention before we finish today's video, because I know someone will ask this in the comments section, is how, this would be the way they present the question, how could you set multiple, take profit levels, or possibly multiple stop losses, although most people just have one set stop loss. But it is a common question of how you set multiple take profit levels. Now, on that video that I mentioned earlier in today's video, that I will leave a link in the description for, where we talk about how to set a stop loss on the spot, section of TradingView, of Kucoin. It is possible in the spot trading section to set multiple take profits levels using, basically stop limit orders. However, when you're trading derivatives and futures, that feature doesn't exist. So sadly to say, it's not simple to set multiple take profit levels inside of the Kucoin futures trading. That being said, if you have the time being the key word, to manage your trade, obviously if you work a job where your phone is on silent and you don't have the ability to check alerts, or if you get a text, you can't react to it for an hour, this wouldn't be for you, this workaround I'm about to mention. But if you had time to manage your trade, what I do is I don't set take profit levels. I will have my stop loss, of course, in place, but we're going to exit out of this screen, and what I'm going to show you next would be how I would manage taking, say, 2 levels of profit. Say I want to take 50% at one price and attempt to take 50% at a higher price. What I would do is, let's just say $25,000 randomly happened to be my first target that I wanted to take 50% at. As soon as the price hit $25,000, I'd get an alert, because I would set one in TradingView. Maybe I'll go ahead and leave the link in the description for that video as well, in case you're new to how to set those alerts. Alerts are your best friend. But anyways, what I'll do is, if that alert goes off, I will open up Kucoin as quickly as I can from my phone, or if I'm near my computer, I'll hop on my computer, and I'll just go over here and click under close position. I'll click market, and then I'll go ahead and just click the percentage of the position I want to close. So if I want to close half of it, I would click 50%, hit confirm, In fact, I'll go ahead and just do that for the video, even though this trade's going pretty well, but it's a very small trade. So we'll confirm it. You're going to see it'll say it's going to cancel your profit and stop loss order. You'll have to reset this afterwards, so I'll go ahead and put cancel order. And now if we look down here, you'll see that my unrealized profit went from like $31 to half of that because I closed half the position. Now it's at $15.81, and I'm going to need to re-add, that my new stop loss there. So what I would do, of course, in this instance is maybe I would bump my stop loss up. So if the price hit 25,000, I'd pick a new stop loss. We're just going to put back in the old one. I think it was 23,896 or something like that. And we're going to go ahead and click confirm just to get that reset back in there. Now, there's actually two ways you can do, this last part that I'm explaining. I went over the first way just because I think it's the safer way, because the option 2, which I'm about to go over, won't allow you to keep a stop loss in place. And I just don't recommend taking really any trade without a stop loss in place, but especially derivatives or futures trades. That being said, I just want to show you quickly what the option number 2 is. So if you go over here under close position, you can click limit. This is kind of similar to spot as far as setting a stop limit order for a future price. You can put under price, for example, $25,000 because that's my hypothetical stop loss. And then I can go down here and say, oh, I want to close 50% or half of my remaining position at that point. It inputs the number for me, and then I can go ahead and click confirm. What that's going to do is it's going to bring up a message that says I need to cancel my stop loss order. So I hit cancel, and you'll see now that it took away my stop loss order, which is what I was mentioning would be kind of a bad thing. But then now over here it tells me under close position, if I hover my mouse, you will close 0.01 BTC, which if you look over here, my full position is 0.02, so it's 50% of it at the price of $25,000. So what you could do there is once that happens, you could set an alert that triggers at $25,000. Of course, at that point, this order would have closed, half your position, and would no longer exist. And then you can come back in here at that point and either set a new stop loss or, go ahead and do another limit order for another price at somewhere up around 26,000, let's just say. So hopefully that made sense. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Now, if you have any questions at all in regards to the content in this video, do me a favor and leave a comment in the comment section, and I'll do my best to get back to you, ASAP. Other than that, on your way out, if you can do me a big favor, if you haven't already, please remember to like and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next one. It's TIMECODES.